Hello, Jacqueline here. Um, I will get started right away. So my presentation today is about critical inquiry. Let me share my screen. So, all right, Marxism specifically and critical inquiry. Before we dig in, I want to just talk a little bit about who Karl Marx was, as he is the individual who is behind Marxism. This is Karl Marx, born in 1818, died in 1883. He's known as one of the principal founders of modern thought and a pioneer of critical theory. He did something pretty amazing. He was able to accomplish fusing philosophy, history, and economics in a way that completed a theory and gave a perspective that nobody really had done previous using those specific subjects. He was a true activist and equalist who sought to end the class system and equalize proletariat and bourgeois life. Essentially, he wanted equality and he wanted freedom among all individuals, regardless of background or socioeconomic status. And he wanted all individuals to be able to realize their full potential. I'll get a little bit more into that in just a minute. All right, so Marxism. All right, so Karl Marx, he sought to explain the nature of capitalistic societies and one's relationship with production. He believed that proletariat workers' jobs were largely dehumanizing, as most of them were working mindless jobs in factories, which was preventing their human capacity in terms of creative labor. So this was huge to Karl Marx. Capitalism was rising during this time. Factories were being built. So there was a major shift in how people were living in general. You know, people were kind of moving away from that rural lifestyle and they were going into work into factories. And so there were two basic classes that he, I don't know, kind of encompassed as the main classes of society. Not that they were the only ones, but there was the proletariat, which were like working, I don't know, blue collar people. And then there was the bourgeoisie, which were the ones that were like running the capitalist system. They were the ones that were like running the factories. So there was the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. And Marx believed that those proletariat workers doing the types of jobs that they were doing that were so mindless, they were just, you know, kind of a cog in the machine doing the same thing over and over, was extremely dehumanizing. Because another thing that Marx believed in was creation, and being able to create is a very human I don't know, value, a human characteristic that we all strive to do. But when you're working in a factory and you're, I don't know, putting the caps onto bottles over and over and over and over and over again, it's pretty dehumanizing. You lose that creativity. You lose that relationship with the objects that you're creating. Whereas if you were to, I don't know, my cat, if you were to go home and build your own table or your own desk, your own chair, make your own bottle, make your own perfume, you would have a special relationship with the thing that you produced. So he had a big thought about those producers and the proletariat not being able to reach their full potential because they weren't able to be creative in the sense that humans should be. Another thing, the rise of capitalism led to major shifts in classes, particularly the bourgeoisie and proletariat. the class struggle was a catalyst for social change, and Marx was a strong activist in the cause to change the class system and relationships of production and capitalism. So pretty much what I just said. He was really searching for a way to end the class system so that there would be equality. He also really wanted those proletariat individuals to realize the position that they were in, because most of the time, if not all of the time, they didn't realize that they were being oppressed in the way that he saw it so easily. Let's see, Marx sought to generate class consciousness, which was an awareness of the working conditions of the proletariat and their often oppressive conditions. In our book, Michael Crotty states the class struggle today mirrors the conflict in ancient times between free persons and slaves. It's pretty big when you think about that, because it's not just like a class system of the have and have nots and those people who are running the businesses and they're working, but he relates this to being free and being a slave. So it's pretty extreme, but you know, there is some relation there if you think about it enough. All right, just kind of continuing on, Marx mentions superstructures, which are essentially legal and political forces that, regardless of class, inherently direct one's life. Basically, it's what you're born into. In a way, these forces that one is born into do not encourage one to subjectively determine their own future, but the forces structure their lives into an objective class position occupancy that determines one's life. So, I mean, when you're born into a certain socioeconomic status, a certain class. You have, and those variables essentially determine in a big way how your life may or may not end up. I mean, not always, but he kind of thought this. So his desire to end that class system would essentially give individuals more freedom so that they could choose their destiny and their future rather than the class that they were born into, their education that their parents have, the jobs that their parents work, the jobs that they eventually will work themselves, et cetera, et cetera. Who we are and what we become are less the outcome of exercising our own conscious free will than etched into our class position and our role in the production process. And this was a quote that I got from a different textbook from a previous class I had taken. All right, so a little bit about critical theory after Marx. Philosophers such as Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno, Paulo Freire, and Jürgen Habermas built onto Marx's views and critical theory itself. And the Frankfurt School was established after Marx's death with the purpose of establishing an institutional context for the discussion of Marxist ideas. And it's kind of interesting because after that school was created, although the founding ideas started out with largely Karl Marx's ideas, they definitely shifted as the world changed. So as time went on, the school progressed in ways that differentiated from original Marxist views. Hence, a neo-Marxist or post-Marxist era was started and is still going on today. So critical theory, just in short, critical theorists as a whole seek to find societal forces that distort individuals' consciousness in such a way that prevent them from recognizing their own potential due to class structure or other aspects, and transforming the situation to one not structured on injustice and or inequality. That is the basis of all critical theories, is to find that goal or solution of being equal and breaking down those structures that are put into place that encourage and instill inequality in whatever form it may be, whether it be race, sex, class, whatever. Regarding Horkheimer's position on traditional theory and critical theory, he posits a theory that merely reflects the current situation and a theory that seeks to change the situation. This is also a huge thing about critical theory, is not only did they like to idealize upon the characteristics and variables and things that are involved with this theory, but they like to change it. The main goal is to change what's happening. So it's not just thinking about it, it's not just studying it, it's not just thinking about the issues at hand, but it's actually thinking about ways that you can change the situation. So, in conclusion, critical theory seeks to make change for betterment of life quality through equality. The major focus on equity by means of just capitalistic production relations is observed, and just as in good. So, another thing is emphasis on egalitarian relationships that are ideal. No have and have nots, no proletariat and bourgeoisie. We are looking for that egalitarian relationship in which everyone commits and everyone works together. That is ideal. There's also a clear juxtaposition of the have and have nots, bourgeoisie, proletariat, and society that are observed. There's always that major difference of the classes or whatever it is. That's a big thing with critical theory and critical inquiry. There's a strong focus on not only studying the issues at hand, but making a true effort to make changes for the better. And that is it. These are my references, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.